One of the most misunderstood emotions and underutilized. This is an emotion that fuels success and positive change. Without harnessing this emotion, you're gonna be in a comfort zone. You're not gonna change any aspect of your life in a dramatic fashion. And that emotion is anger. Anger gets a bad rap. When we think of anger, we think of some motherfucker having road rage, going crazy on the 405 in Los Angeles. We think of domestic abuse. We think of animal abuse, we think of child abuse, and obviously those are all bad manifestations of anger being utilized incorrectly. Now, when you have anger, you can channel it into positive things. For example, yesterday I was angry about a bunch of stuff, which I'll talk about in a second. And I channeled that into my workout. And guess what? I had a fucking great workout. Now, I didn't waste this angry energy because sometimes you see people at the gym, they're doing their warm-up sets. Let's say they're doing deadlifts with 135 or 225, and they're screaming on each rep. That's stupid. That's just being ostentatious. You're being overly dramatic. That's not harnessing anger. Anger comes from a genuine place. But let's say I'm doing a set of 10 reps on the deadlift, and reps 1 through 7 are easy. I don't need to grunt or make any noises. Why am I going on the first rep when I can do 9 more? That's a total waste of energy. But when I get to rep 8 or 9 and things start slowing down, sometimes that extra that'll drive you to the finish. That'll get you through there. When I pulled 605 last year, I remember the bar came off the floor fairly easily, and then it started slowing down just below the knees. And at that point, it was time to harness that anger and finish it, and to drive it all the way through. If you want to make any positive change in your life, let's say you're overweight, let's say you're broke, whatever the fuck it is, you're depressed, you got to be angry about that shit. It can't come from some calm, cool, collected place. Going, oh, I just read this article about human trafficking, and there's hundreds of thousands of kids, possibly millions, in this, and it's terrible. I think I need to do something about it. That energy is not going to get anywhere. My friend Ty Ritter, who runs Project Child Save, he used to be not a security guard, he was a bodyguard, and he worked with really high-profile people. And one day he helped rescue a kid from a prominent figure in Las Vegas. This person's kid was kidnapped. Ty Ritter worked through his channels and managed to recover this child. And he realized he had a knack for this. But then he started looking into pedophilia, he started looking into human trafficking, and it made him extremely angry. I mean, he was disgusted by what he saw. Now, he could have easily just been disgusted and maybe complained about it and done nothing with that anger, but instead, he formed Project Child Save, recruited other people with similar backgrounds, and now they go rescue kids all over the world, guns blazing if necessary, vigilante style if necessary. They're taking that anger regarding an issue and harnessing it into something positive. But without the anger, these people aren't going to put their lives on the line. They're not going to have the fuel to put themselves on the line. It's not going to come from this calm place like, we're going on a mission, let's go save some kids. No, that's not the way it fucking works. Another example is my friend Melia Kaplan. She runs Voice for the Animals in Los Angeles. Fantastic lady. She's also a bad motherfucker. And let me tell you a story about her. One time she was driving down, I want to say Lincoln Boulevard, Santa Monica, just leaving Santa Monica, heading towards Marina Del Rey. And she looked over to the right and she saw this, what looked like a homeless guy, just beating the shit out of his pit bull, just beating him up. People are walking by, people are looking, they're shaking their heads. That's terrible. That's what most people are gonna do. That's what most of you watching would do. What did she do? And let me preface this by saying she's about 5'2", 100 pounds. She jumped out of her car, she ran right into this motherfucker, pushed him out of the way with all of her might, grabbed this dog, put the dog in her car, took off. That dog ended up in a rescue, got adopted by a really nice family. She was angry. That didn't come from a place of, oh, this is terrible, there's a dog being beaten up there. Maybe I should do something about it. You know what? I'm gonna intervene. I'm gonna do something about it. No, she said, fuck that shit. She got out of the car. She didn't worry about her own personal safety because she was so angry about seeing an animal abused, and she did something about it. And that's the kind of person I want to support. That's why I wholeheartedly donate to her. I've been donating to her for over a decade People like Ty Ritter, people like Melia Kaplan, those are people that are angry because of things they've been through, things they've seen, but they harness that anger, they put it in through a positive channel where they can transmute it and actually have extremely positive outcomes, which would not otherwise have been possible. Okay, final story is I was at a friend's party many years ago, and I was talking to a really nice lady, and we got on the topic of child abuse. And I'm a survivor of child abuse, so I told her my story. And she was impressed with how I overcame that, because it happened when I was 5 years old. That's a formative time in your life. It's not easy to overcome. And I told her it was a combination of therapy and having great people in my life, doing what I want to do, but taking that anger, not trying to quell that anger, not trying to accept that anger. You take that anger and you put it into something, compassionate acts. So she told me about a friend of hers who had 2 sons that were raped, brutalized by their stepfather while they were growing up. And long story short about the brutalizer is he's in prison and hopefully he's getting raped every day himself, if not killed by now. But that point aside, these 2 young guys, they were probably in their 20s or early 30s by the time she told me the story. And they obviously had very strong anger issues. They would get into fights at bars. They're getting into fights with everyone they come across. They're hot-tempered. And this is coming from a place where they're trying to overcompensate. They were brutalized and subjugated to abuse. And now they're going, okay, I'm gonna look for an opportunity. Someone fucks with me and I'm gonna fuck that motherfucker up. And I get that mentality completely. I've felt that way myself many times. But that's not a good use of anger. That's a very bad use. It's either gonna get you beat up, killed, in prison, or a combination of all the above. So what I did is I asked her, what are these guys into? Are they into sports, or are they into working out, or are they into martial arts? And she said, yeah, working out, martial arts, they have some interest. I go, okay, and they need to further those, but that's not the only thing they need to do. Working out is great, but that's not enough to channel this anger. It's gotta be something more meaningful than that. So what I recommend, then she got onto the topic of they love animals, and I go, bingo, there it is. So these guys need to volunteer at animal shelters, help some dogs, maybe rehabilitate dogs that have been through abuse, or any animal that's been through abuse, because that's gonna be really healing for them. These are good guys. These are good guys that went through serious abuse and they have obvious anger issues. It's completely understandable. Anyone who's been through abuse is gonna get that. I get it completely. So instead of trying to get rid of that anger, that's what we often hear, take an anger management class. You need to meditate more, just relax, just chill out. None of that fucking shit's gonna work. Go smoke a joint, go have a drink. That's not gonna work either. None of that stuff is gonna work because the anger is still there. So once something is created, it can't be destroyed. So if you have strong anger, that's not going anywhere. But what you can do is channel that into positive means. Use it to become stronger physically. Use it to build the financial empire that you want. Use it to take charge of your life in every facet. Use it to, most importantly, improve the lives of others, whether it's people, animals, whatever it is that you're into. But all of that comes from that anger place. You show me someone who doesn't have anger. I'll show you someone who's not successful at all. I'll show you someone that has the motivation of a fucking tadpole. They don't get off the couch because they're in a comfort zone. No one ever becomes successful from a comfort zone, ever, in any context. And the only thing that's gonna get you out of a comfort zone is anger. Now, some people say, being angry is not the thing. You need to love yourself. Shut the fuck up with that bullshit. I don't wanna hear that crap. It's usually coming from some white person, and that's some fucking white privilege shit right there. So back the fuck off with that shit. Don't tell me I need to love myself and I need to do this. You don't know what the fuck I've been through. You don't know what goes on in my mind. If I've got anger issues, I need to channel that shit. Anger and love are 2 sides of the same coin. 2 sides of the same coin. That's why it's the people that you love that can hurt you the most and make you the most angry. 2 sides, same fucking coin. So loving yourself means you're willing to take charge of your life and improve. And if you can use anger to do that, then that's a form of loving yourself. As I said I'm just gonna accept this, I'm gonna accept that. Some things you have to accept about yourself. When my face got burned when I was 28, I looked for every solution I could find, and to no avail. So eventually I had to accept it. And that's okay. I'm angry about it, but I use that anger to improve the lives of others and improve my own life. And I have a chip on my shoulder about it. I had a lot of insecurities when I first got into business about being in front of people. And a lot of people who took my courses would be like, man, I didn't see that. You look super confident up there. And that's a character I had to go into. And that came from that place of anger. So anyway, let's stop looking at anger as a negative thing. Anger is the testosterone of emotions. And why I say that is, testosterone gets such a bad rap by people who have no clue what the fuck they are talking about. Testosterone has a very calming effect on you because you feel great. If you're a man with optimal testosterone, your mood is good, your sex drive is high, you're getting better results with physical training, you feel in charge of your life. Those are all positive things. People who just snap and have hot heads, serious tempers, that's too much adrenaline. And that's not a bad thing either. You just got to channel that adrenaline into the right things, channel that anger.